there everyone, it's Kathy. Welcome back into my craft room and back here on my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located here in North Carolina. If you're not currently working with a demonstrator, I would love the opportunity to earn your business. And if you like what you see here on my channel, please give me a thumbs up and think about subscribing. It doesn't cost a penny to subscribe to my channel, and if you ring that little bell, you can get notified every time I bring a video or I come on live. So, and my schedule will also be posted on my blog, so you can always know when I am coming on live. Okay, without any further ado, let's get to the card that I have in store for you today. This is what's known as a lattice card. Now, I haven't completed it because I decided I wanted to come on and show you how to do this. It's a really cute, it's a simple card, even though it looks like it wouldn't be. The hardest thing to do is getting your pieces lined up, and I think I have a way to help you with that to make it a little easier. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. For this card, I do recommend using a thick weight white cardstock. And y'all know I normally cut my cardstock on the 11-inch side, and I cut it down the middle this way. But today we're going to be doing a little bit different, and I'm going to put it in on the 8.5-inch side, and I'm going to cut it in half at 4 1/4. So I am going to cut up and then down. And that gives us a piece that is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and we need to score that. So I'm going to go ahead and get that cut blade out of my way, bring my score blade down, and I'm going to line it up to 5 1/2, and we are going to give that a good score. Now this is thick cardstock, so you're going to want to give it a few times across there. Then we're going to pull it back to 3 1/4, and we're going to cut off. We're going to cut it at this line, so I'm going to move that score blade out of my way, and now I'm ready to trim this at 3 1/4. All of the measurements and the directions will be on the PDF tutorial, and you can get that on my blog. There'll be a link to it below. The piece that you have left over, this is the piece we're going to use to make our little crossbars. And when you say crossbars, it's going to be these pieces that go across this way. Very easy to do. We're just going to line our piece up, and I'm going to cut it over on this side of my my cut line. So I'm going to line it up to a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to, oops, I think it slipped. You want to hold on to it and make sure that you don't get any of these pieces, you know, a little wonky, because that can cause your card not to lay straight. So I'm lining it up, being very careful, and you're going to cut 5 of these. So that's 2. 3 and 5. This is our 5th one, and if you notice, we're going to have a piece that's a little bit wider than the other pieces. We're going to center it right in the middle of that cut line. So it's going to be something like that. You just want to kind of eyeball center it. Now it might be hard to hang on to it with it there like that, so I'm going to show you what I like to do. I like to take one of my Post-it flags and kind of anchor it down. So once I get it where lined up where I feel like that's halfway, maybe over just a tiny bit more, about like that, then I'm going to anchor that with this little Post-it note. And all that's going to do is going to help hold my piece. I'm going to come down in the middle, sink my blade up and then down. And that usually will get you exactly what you need to give you 2 pretty equal pieces, and these ended up being pretty good for me. So lay those away from these because they're going to be different size, so I like to lay them over to the left of me and hang on to these on the right. Now we are ready to bring our card base over, and what you're going to want to do is give it a good crease. So I'm going to crease it on that fold line that we made. And I'm going to actually turn it over and crease it on the back side as well. It's real important to get that piece to lay down as nice and straight as you possibly can. So don't skimp on doing that. And I like to line it up about 1/2 1/2 on my grid line here. So if you have the grid paper, you can do it on that. If you have a a cut mat like I have here, you can do it on that. But what I'm trying to do is get the same amount on both sides, sort of like we did when we centered it a while ago. This is going to help you when you get ready to put down your pieces. So I'm going to take a stamp block, and I'm going to use a bigger one because I want something that's going to really hold that there for me. And I have some low-tack tape, and this is what I used before, so I still have these pieces that I just saved. You're going to want to hold the sticky side up and lay it where it goes right up underneath that ledge of your card right there, and just stick it down. Then come down to the bottom and take another piece of tape and stick that across it. You want that to go down because now when we lay these pieces down, and this is building our card, and this might be on the boring side of it, but what we're going to do is we're going to lay our first piece down. I like to make sure that I'm getting one side completely even. Bring it up, make sure it's going right across the bottom, and push down on that tape. That's what's holding it down for you temporarily. And then we're going to take the next one, we're going to come up to the top, and we're going to come down about, I don't know, not quite 1/4 of an inch, but a little bit more than 1/8. So maybe 3/8. And you don't have to measure it, just eyeball it. Press that down. Now we're going to go back down to the bottom. You know, if you've ever done panels where you do them across, how you do both ends and then you work toward the middle, that's exactly what we're doing here. So I'm going to bring this one down, and I'm going to try to get about the same amount of space that I have up there at the top here. Press it down. Does it have to be perfect? No, we're crafters, we don't do perfect, but you want to try to get the pieces as close to centered up as possible. That makes your card look really professional when you're done. So now I'm going to center this one right about there, give it a press. So we've got these pieces in place. So remember these two pieces that we cut, the two that we cut the one in half, these are going to be our crossbars, and what these are going to do, they are going to anchor our card, our cross pieces, and it's also going to give us that lattice look. And I mean, what's prettier than a lattice with some flowers running up? And that's exactly what this gave us. And you see how this piece and this piece are on each side, and that's what holds your card together. So let's go ahead and get some liquid glue. I am going to use liquid glue for this because it only takes a tiny bit. It also gives you the opportunity. We're going to start up here, and I'm going to choose a spot right where I want that piece to go, and I'm going to come down each one of these little pieces, our little crossbars, and I'm going to put just a spot of glue on each one of them. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to lay it down and just run it down to the bottom, and eyeballing that you've got about the same all the way down, and give that a press just like that. Now we're going to come over on the other side and we're going to do the same thing. Do a little dab there, right here, one there, here, here, and here. And then we are going to put this down right about there, and you just want to eyeball that you're getting it about the same on both sides, and just give it a minute for that glue to adhere. I'm going to set that on there just for a minute while I put the pen back in my glue. And now we're going to lift up. Let's go ahead and take this cross piece off first. And now we can lift this back like this. Be very gentle. I like to take both fingers and hold down as I pull this up, so that I'm not pulling up any of my crossbars. because, I mean, even though this is low-tack tape, you still have possibly wet glue there. Now this is where you have an opportunity, if you didn't get your pieces in as straight as you wanted them, or you notice that one's a little wonky, one needs to go up a little bit, like this one right here needs to go up just a hair. You have the opportunity with the wet glue to lift that up and move it, and that right there looks pretty good. I'm pleased with that. So now I can turn this over just like this and take my paper snips and literally snip off these long pieces. So I'm just going to go in and snip that off and do the same thing here. Just snip it off nice and even. So now our card, that part of it is done. Now I want to open this up, because before I get started with what I want to do, I'm going to bring in, this is Forever Fern. This is an older stamp set that's in our annual catalog, and see this little piece right here? I want to use that little dot piece. It's like very, very minute little dots. I used a bigger one on this, and if you can notice, I don't like the bigger splatters. I wanted something just a little bit less. So I'm going to use this block, this stamp, and I'm going to pick it up on this block. And I think what I want to do with this one, I'm going to grab a piece of my grid paper. So I'm going to pull out a sheet of grid paper, because I want to stamp on and then, stamp off and then stamp on, because I want this to be fairly light. I'm going to use the Orchid Oasis ink pad for this, because I'm going to do my flowers in this color, and our inside piece is going to be the Orchid Oasis. This one I used polished pink, and you see how pretty that turned out, and I used Granny Apple Green on this one. I'm going to do my greenery in this one in Old Olive, so I think it will contrast better with this particular ink. So I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on, stamp off, stamp on. And I don't want these all over. I just want them to be, I want my dots to be just, here and there. You might have enough to stamp a couple of times. Let's see if we can get just a tiny bit right there. Oop, and I made a little boo-boo there, but that's okay. We'll cover that up with a sentiment, because I'm going to actually cut a sentiment out rather than stamping. This one I stamped it directly onto the card, which I like that too. I think it's pretty, but we're going to try this one a little bit different. So let me get my Stampin' Scrub out, because I do want to clean this off before I go any further. So I'm going to clean some of it off on that grid paper, and then give it a scrub just like that. And now we can decide how we're going to decorate this. So I'm going to lay this over to the side for a minute, and I'm going to bring over a piece of white thick cardstock. And I'm also, the flowers that I wanted to use on this one is the Irresistible Blooms, and I'm going to use both of those flowers as well as these leaves. So these are such beautiful flowers, and we've got dies to cut them out with. So we're going to stamp both of those. We're probably going to do the leaves too, so let's take those out. And no, I don't need that one. We'll see which one of the sentiments we're going to use. We might not even use one from there. We might use something totally different. All right, Orchid Oasis. And let's grab a stamp block for this one. And I'm going to grab another one for the second flower. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my leaves. And my smaller leaf. And I've got everything loaded up now on my stamp block, so we can just go ahead and stamp this off. So I'm going to stamp that one there. Beautiful. And then we're going to do the smaller one right about here. I'm giving a little room in between so that I can have room to die cut them. And I'm just using my grid paper just to clean off a little bit of that ink, and I'll take those to my Stampin' Scrub in just a little bit. Now let's get our Old Olive ink out, and we're going to stamp those leaves in the Old Olive. We'll stamp over here and see that it's, no, that's not quite dark enough. I might need to go to a darker ink. I think this one might need re-inking. Let's do one here. Not bad. And let's do this one. Not bad. Let's do one more right here. And let's do one more of these right down here. Okay, I think we got that good enough. I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm just going to walk the ink off of the stamp like that. And we can get this out of our way. And we need to bring up our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now, if I cut this apart, I can actually use my mini, and I won't have to bring up the big one. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut these apart like that, and cut that off, and then cut these apart. Now we can go ahead and die cut these with our little machine. So I'm going to do this and this, because I can do one of these and one of these at the same time, and one of these and one of these, so that way I can do the least passes possible, and you'll see what I'm talking about once I bring my machine up. So our little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, I am loving mine since I got a replacement. That was like the best thing ever, and I really don't think that my machine was ever cutting as good as it was supposed to from day one, because it never really performed like I thought it should, and I found myself many times going to my smaller one, my bigger one, rather than grabbing the small one. So now what we need to do here is we just need to decide which way the dies go, and it might take a little bit of finagling to get them just like we want them. That looks good, and I'm going to use one of these. Y'all know I love to use these on my dies. And I'm going to grab the smaller die, because we're going to cut both of these at the same time. And let's see, this one goes like this. Something like that. And I've got this one right here. I'm going to put that one down. And now we can cut both of these at the same time. So here we go. And those two are cut. So I'm just going to lay them over here for just a moment. And I'm going to grab my leaves. And I'm going to go ahead and get my leaves anchored down. Now, a rule of thumb with the little machine, stagger your plates. Have your bottom plate forward just a bit, the next plate back, and then this one forward just a little bit. And then put it in, push it in, and then roll it through. So pretty. Oh, we still got two more to do. So let's move that right there. Go ahead and get these off. And there's that one. And this one. Die cuts beautifully every time. I love it. Alright, so now we need to bring these two back over. And let's lay these down like this. Alright. And I think we might be done with our die cutting. I won't know because I haven't done these flowers yet, so I don't know until we actually get them on our card. And I was just thinking about it. With this much white on the flower, I might need to color those a little bit. So if we decide we need to color, we'll do that. All right, let's put our dies back over where they belong. We don't want to lose our dies. And get this taken up and taken care of. All right, we've got all of our greenery and our flowers done. So now the question is whether or not we need to do a little bit of light coloring on these. I'm gonna lay it on my card first. Let's lay this on our card, and let's see. Now we're gonna put a piece of the Orchid Oasis up underneath here, and we're gonna need 4 1/4 by 3 1/2. I mean 3 and what did I say? Do y'all ever do that? You measure and then by the time you get ready to cut you have forgotten? Okay, 4 1/4 by 3 1/2. Yes, 3 1/2. So 3 1/2 would be right there. Okay, and I've just got some scraps, and that's not a bad thing. So now we can bring this in. Just like that. Oh, look how pretty that is. And let's see, what if we do our flowers on this side, and that way we know we can cover up our little boo-boo right there. So what if we run our flowers down this side with some greenery. You can always tuck our leaves wherever we want them. Let's do a couple right there, and let's do one more right down here. I think I like that, but I am going to try coloring. Let's try the small flower. Let's try coloring it, and we're going to use the light Orchid Oasis. So this is my light Orchid Oasis, and I'm going to come in. I don't know, this might mess it up and we might have to redo the flower. What if I have to redo it, I'll do the flowers in black and then we'll come in and color them. I think this is going to cover up my lines. I want to leave that stamen in the middle so I can color it a different color. I don't know, that's not too bad. What do y'all think? I didn't like y'all can give me your opinion, but because we're not doing a live, this is a recorded video. I still have a tendency to talk to y'all like you're right here with me. So, I'm not too sure about this one. I think I'm going to go back and stamp them in black. I'm going to keep this just for a minute, but I'm going to stamp these in black. I'm going to stamp this on the Stamparatus because I do want to use my alcohol markers, and I'm going to do this in the Memento Tuxedo Black. So let's grab our stamp back out. Oh, we already got them right here. I do need to clean them though. So I think to clean them, I'm just going to spritz some cleaner on my cloth. This is our Stampin' Mist. It is a wonderful stamp cleaner. And I'm just going to do this to make it a quickie. Not have to pull out the Stampin' Scrub. I'm going to clean that off really good, make sure I don't have any of that Orchid Oasis ink on there. And that looks really good. So now I can lay my stamp down where I want it. I think I want it right about there. Let's grab the other one. I'll do the same thing. Give it a good scrub with that cloth. And we're going to lay it right here. And we're going to go ahead and pick those up like that. And I'm going to stamp them in the Tuxedo Black. Just a good dab, dab, dab all over them. And remember, the Stamparatus will allow us to go back and restamp if they're not quite as dark as we would like them. Oh, they're pretty. Let's go ahead and ink it one more time. Because we can get a nice rich black color on there. Oh, beautiful. Okay, now anytime I'm going to, this particular stamp set, if I'm going to color them, I like to stamp them in the black. I think it just really gives me a beautiful color. And I'm going to spritz these right on the Stamparatus door and just scrub them, get that ink off. Y'all know I'm a stickler for cleaning my stamps before I put them away. I'm going to go ahead and just stick the rest of these on here and clean them as well. Or at least have them here where I can clean them after the after the video. So let's put that right there, and I can just set this over here. Something like this. Alright, so we can move this back over here. And now, before I cut these out, I'm going to go ahead and color them. So I'm going to grab both my light and dark because I want to do some shading on these. Now I want to make sure that ink is good and dry, so I'm going to fan that just a little bit. And I'm going to start off with my dark Orchid Oasis. And I'm going to use the bullet tip. There's the little fine end. And I'm going to go in, and everywhere that there's a dot or a loop or anything, I'm just going to kind of trace over it. It makes it so easy to do your shading when you use the lines that the artist has already put there. Just makes it super easy to come back in and blend that color in with the rest of your image. I'm also going to do a little extra right around this dark area, like that, and around here, just like that. Now I'm going to leave that center alone, but I am going to come in right here, and right around here, and here, just giving myself a little extra dark where it would naturally be dark. Now I'm going to come back in with my light, and this time I'm using the brush tip, and I'm just going to very gently circle my color. Just do little circles, and you want to use the side of your brush. If you go down straight, you can damage the end of your brush, so just whenever you're using this one, just do from the sides and little circles, just like that. I find coloring to be a very relaxing thing. I normally don't color a lot when online, because I know some people find it boring, and there's others that love it. So, you know, what is that old saying? You can't please all the people all the time. So I'm just going to continue to circle my ink in and about. I'm loving the way this is looking. I'm going to bring the other one over and show you the difference in having the black and the Orchid Oasis. You will be able to see there is such a difference. And then I'm just going to go down into here. Isn't that flower gorgeous? I love it. We are going to come back with some Daffodil Delight and hit right into the middle of that flower where the stamen's at. And you're going to see just how beautiful that's going to be. Do a little bit more right in here. And this will lighten as it dries. You can probably already see when some places where it's starting to lighten. But let's bring this flower back and see the difference. This one looks so washed out in comparison to the one in black. So I'm going to grab my yellow and I'm going to use the dark Daffodil Delight. And I'm just going to use the bullet tip. And I just want to streak in some color. Give that stamen a nice little, isn't that gorgeous? That so makes the flower. I mean, even if we did this on here, it's going to look completely washed out in comparison to this one. So I think you can see why I decided to go back. So I'm going to go in again with my dark, using the bullet tip, and I'm going to do the small flower the same way I did the bigger one. So I'm going to circle around. I'll finish coloring this one and then we'll meet back up in just a moment. Alright, as you can see, I have finished up my coloring and these look so beautiful. And again, here is the difference. Look at the difference. This is the same flower here as there. It looks totally different. So if you're going to color your flowers, especially if you're putting them on a white background. Now, had I been putting those flowers onto, if I had made my lattice out of the Orchid Oasis and then laid the white, this flower down on it, it would have been beautiful. But because I had a lot of white on my card, I felt like we needed to cut the flowers and make sure that they were beautiful like the rest of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off like that. I'm going to go ahead and cut these in two so we can run both of them through the die machine at the same time. I'm not sure if I want to redo the leaves. I'm thinking I will, because I think it will make the whole card look really well. So I may go off after we get the flowers cut. I may go back off and stamp and color the leaves as well. I think it will make the world of difference in the way this will look. So let's put the big flower in and grab our big die. And again, we're going to come in like that. It needs to come over just a hair. And bring this over and hold it down. Push it up. We can bring this one right here. And then this one goes right there. Something like that. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put this one over. Push everything forward and run it through. And then there's our flowers. All right, I think I'm gonna do that because I don't think these leaves are gonna give the pop that I want with this. I'll save these and perhaps do another card and do the lattice in the blue or the Orchid Oasis and use the other flower. I think that would be so pretty like that. Let's go ahead and take these off real quick so we can see just how beautiful they're gonna be. Oh yeah, that is so much better. Leave me a comment and let me know, did you like the flowers done better like this or like this? Or I should say, not that one, but my other flower. What did I do with it? The ones done with the black or the ones done... Well, I know I had it just a minute ago. What did I do with it? Oh, it's laying over here. Like this or like that? Y'all let me know. I think for the pop, I like this much better on the white. But like I said, this would be gorgeous on the Orchid Oasis. So it's a matter of coordination. You know, you coordinate what you like, and there's really no right or wrong because everybody's got different taste. But leave me a message and leave me a comment below and let me know which way you liked it best. And because I always appreciate feedback. All right, I'm going to go off real quick, and I'm going to stamp those flowers again, and I mean the leaves, and then when we come back, we'll put this card together and put our sentiment on it and see just how beautiful it's going to be. We'll be right back. Okay, everyone, I'm back, and I went ahead and stamped my leaves in the black. I did not like the leaves in the black. This is what they look like, and because there's so much dark on those leaves, they look dead, and I just didn't care for that. So I am using the leaves that I had stamped earlier. So we are ready now to go ahead and put this together. So I'm going to put one flower right about here, and I think I want, maybe I'm going to do the small one first. Let's do this one right there. And I'm going to glue this directly down. So I'm just going to use some liquid glue. And I know that I want glue across the top. And we're going to place it like right here. Once you get your flower down, if you see you need some glue like right here, I just didn't want glue to seep from underneath the edge there. So I'm going to put some glue right here and press that down. Then I'm going to take my bigger flower, and this one I want to put it on dimensionals. So when you're doing dimensionals and you've got an open weave like this, you've got to be careful where you put them. So I know that I want this flower to pop up like in this direction. So I know that it's safe to put dimensionals right there on this corner. So I'm going to go ahead and put one right there. Then I'm going to lay it down where I want it. I know it's safe to put one right there because it's going to fall there, so I'm going to put one right there. So again, I'm going to place it back down. I know I can put one here, so right there on that corner, like that. And I think that will get our pieces everywhere we need them. Let's double check to make sure. I'm going to open it up and see I have got one that's showing. So when I put this down, I want to make sure that these dimensionals are hiding behind one of these pieces. So let's go ahead and take our dimensionals off, our backers. And I know that this one's going to sit right up here. That one's going to sit right there. So what I got to make sure that this one is going to sit behind this. So I might have to turn my flower just a tiny bit just to make sure everything is adhering where I want it. And that's perfect. So now I can press it down. So now we need to put our leaves, and I'm going to tuck those leaves right there. I want these to go right under here like that. I think I want one of these smaller ones to come down right about there. And we can actually do, I don't think we're going to need that one. Well, maybe, I'll tell you what, let's do this one here. And maybe this one right here. That looks pretty. I think I like that. So that'll give us our spread of leaves where we want them. So I'm going to pick this one up, and I'm going to put glue right on the back corner right there. And then I'm going to slide it under right there and press it. I like to turn my leaves just a little bit. It gives them a little bit of dimension and lift. This one I know is going to go right here. So I'm going to put glue right there, and tuck that one in, just like that. And see, we know we're not getting any glue where we don't want it by doing it like this. This one is going to go right about there, so I know that I can get glue up on this part of it, so I'm just going to put glue across here, and I'm going to anchor that whole leaf on that panel right there. See, that's keeping our glue from oozing out. Now we got this last one, and this one shouldn't be any problem because we can actually glue it right there to this piece. So we're going to put some glue underneath here and slide this one right up like so. And there is our spread of flowers that we've put down. So the only thing left to do for this card is we've got to glue in our piece of our blue. And to do this, I'm going to use liquid glue. I want to have a little wiggle room so I can wiggle this into place. So let's lay it down. Just like this. Making sure we're not wonky one way or the other. Over that way just a hair. Need to go down just a bit and over. And there is our card. Is that not beautiful? So now the next thing we need to do is we need to put a sentiment up here. And I am thinking that I want to do something in using this, and we might have to heat emboss our sentiment so that it will be in white. But let's decide what we want to say. How about hello or hooray it's your day? We could do hooray it's your day, and it could always be a birthday card or a congratulations card or anything like that you would want it to be. And I think that would be a perfect little place to put this. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this down in some Versamark ink, and then we'll heat emboss. I love to heat emboss. It's like one of my favorite techniques, and y'all already know that if you've watched any of my videos. One of my favorite things to do. Bella's dreaming. So it's a little late at night that I'm doing this, later than normal, but I wanted to get this video done while it was fresh in my head. And a special thanks to Phyllis Terrell. She was the one that asked me to do one of these cards, and I had to do a little research because I wasn't sure what she was talking about at first. And there's a lot of lattice cards out there, and you can do them a variety of ways, any type of greenery or flowers or whatever. Y'all know what I forgot to do? I forgot to powder my piece. So let's grab the little embossing buddy, turn it over, and just do it on that side since I messed up. Didn't really mess up, I just forgot. I'm bad about forgetting to powder my piece of paper before I do heat embossing. I get so excited because I want to see the magic. And the magic is watching the embossing powder melt. So I'm just going to hold that right there. Very, very good. And let's cover this up. And grab my embossing powder. My white embossing powder. So I'm going to set that right there, and I'm going to pick this piece up, and I'm going to sprinkle my embossing powder all over it. And hooray, it's your day. I'm going to lay that in that embossing powder, or that, not embossing powder, but that powder tool, so that it will get the sticky off of the back of it. And if you notice you've got any little residue of powder anywhere you don't want it, take your little brush, and this brush comes along in the kit with the tweezers, the brush, the powder tool, and the little tray to put your embossing powder back in. So nice little thing, and I'll have that linked in my PDF so that if you're interested in picking all that up, you can. I'm going to grab the tweezers because this gives me a nice place to hold. And I'm going to heat up my embossing tool. This is the Stampin' Up heat tool. Has 2 settings, 1 and 2. So anytime you're heat embossing, you want to have it on 2. So give me just a minute. I'm going to be silent while this is heating up. And just that quick, we were able to heat emboss that piece, and it's ready to die cut or punch, whichever. And let's see, I think I got a punch that will work. Let's see if this punch will work. This would be really cute if this will work on here. And get it centered up in there just about like that. That looks good. And punch. And we can tuck this right about here. Bring it up just a hair. Maybe right about there. I like it there. So do I want to pop it up over the leaves, or do I want to glue it straight down on top of the leaves? I think I want to pop it up. So I am going to grab my dimensionals again. Oops, they're right here. I reached for some and I grabbed the little ones. I was like, that's not what I want. So we're going to put about 3 across there. And now sit this down. And I think it can go right about there. These leaves are all flat, so they can go right on top of the leaves. That'll give us some more of that beautiful orchid oasis on the front of our card. And they can go right there, and there's our card. Now the only thing we got left to do is stamp a sentiment in here, and you could do whatever sentiment you wanted, or you could write a hand note there. This card I think turned out beautiful. I'm going to show you the other one next to it, and that way you can see the difference of it done in the Orchid Oasis, and this one was done with the two-tone flora and the leaves from that one in Granny Apple Green. This one was done with Irresistible Blooms and Old Olive. The leaves were stamped in Old Olive. So that's the difference in the two. This one I didn't put a sentiment label on it. I stamped directly down, but I think both of them are pretty in their own right. They're the same, but they're different. I did the flowers over on the right of this one and on the left of that one. So it's totally your card. You can manage this any way you would like, and I think it's a very pleasing card. It's pleasing to the eye. So if you like this, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know which color was your favorite, and also don't forget to leave me a comment about which one of these flowers you liked better done in the like this or like that. I think they're both pretty, but again, like I said, I think this flower would have been great had I done it in my Lattice, actually done in the Orchid Oasis. So anyway, those are my cards. Thanks so much for tuning in. As I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. Until we craft again, God bless and keep you. Bye-bye.